All right. Good evening. Good evening. Good morning. Thanks for that, Jack. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all having yourselves a fantastic start to this AM. Clearly, it's still dark enough out here where I'm not sure if it's the morning or if it's the evening, but here we are regardless, and really looking forward to seeing what's going to be happening for us here today. Pretty impressive little earnings rip on Nvidia. Michael Burry's having another meltdown on social media about how the value makes no sense. And markets are continuing to show us a lot of enthusiasm and hopefully some joy for us to take advantage of. Yesterday, spent literally the entire day from like when I stopped streaming to when I went to bed working on that trader hub that we're making. Should be available, or I don't want to say it'll be available today, but we're getting really close to it being usable and workable. I'll show you guys a working demo of it later. And yeah, hopefully we can keep building momentum and all those sort of fun things. Honestly, I'm super excited by it. So yeah, hopefully it'll be pretty cool. And we'll go. Emmy, I'll show you guys a little bit later what I mean by that, but we'll break it down. But it'll be like effectively your trading journal on steroids. So it'll allow you to journal your trades, get like instant feedback on them using DTR principles, and it'll give you like a platform where you'll be able to get more effective coaching type thing. So really curious to see how you guys all use it and how you make it your own. But for now, let's still focus about making some money here today, because that's got to be the number one priority, and then I can focus on gamifying stuff and making things cool. So first things first, right? We want to check the economic calendar here this AM. All right, so existing home sales, we got some orange folder, not too terrible. We got some Fed speak here today. Fed balance budget, a lot of Fed speak here. Oh my gosh. The assholes never shut up. And yeah, we'll see if that gives anything. We're getting a massive gap up here this AM, right? Just driven by Nvidia's earnings. Nvidia had a strong beat there on top and bottom line, right? So beating by 3.2% on earnings, or 3.3% on earnings. And then revenue also growing, right? More than expected. So very, very positive from Nvidia. Maybe the issue with that, right, is now that the move has happened here effectively overnight, right? Or that's a very big move that's happened here overnight. And that could complicate things here just a little bit, or remove some of that maybe momentum, or slow things down here a little bit. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And yeah, hopefully we can kind of figure something out. So let's start mapping things out a little bit and go from there. Yesterday, green candle, decreasing volume, and then big gap up. So we'll call it a 2 out of 3 to the upside without volume, right? And then targeting a move towards 6,800. As much as I love trading high volatile conditions, I strongly dislike having to change my level so dramatically every morning. But we'll call this 6790 as our starting point here to the upside, and then 6,800, sorry. Above that, right, we're going to start pushing towards, I don't know, 6,840. And hey, Michael, good morning to you too, man. Those early mornings, you're braver than I am with those, I'll tell you that much. Love that. Amazing. Good morning, Mike. And then to the downside, I think it is still reasonable for us to have two-way bias here, right? Kind of would set up as a mean reversion type thing. So ORB fake out, then break down towards, and we want to see just market co-op, right? So market also selling off effectively and giving us the old flush. And then it should be reasonable and good to go. So we'd be looking at 67.50 kind of as our starting point here. And then down towards 66, or sorry, 67. So again, just 10 points along the way. All right, sweet. The old NQ. Oh, she's so good to me. All right. Pre-market looking at 300, I guess, theoretically is the starting point. It's probably a little bit close. So let's go 25.4. And again, we're looking at a 2 to 3 to the upside without. And we'll go to like 800. And already a pretty big move here so far this morning. So I may be a little bit skeptical, right, of how much more momentum is left to the upside, or like easy momentum. Talked a little bit yesterday about the concept of finding like the easiest trade of the day. Like that's what my objective is I don't necessarily need to find the biggest move. I don't necessarily need to find the earliest move. I want to find the best one. When like what effectively that means to me, right, is you want to find the path of least resistance and then basically do that. Like we want our bear with me with this analogy, but we want our knife to go through like soft butter, right? Or butter that's been, sitting at room temperature instead of like butter that's been sitting in the fridge, right? It's a little bit easier to spread it, right, when it's at room temp, but there's no resistance and you're able to get a much more even, smooth process. Whereas when you spread, frozen butter or cold butter on like a piece of bread, it kind of ends up being like it can kind of like destroy the bread sometimes, right? It gets all chunky and all weird, and we want to avoid that. So when price has already given us such a big move, there maybe isn't that much space left. And that complicates things just a little bit. To the downside here, targeting 25, I think is probably a reasonable starting point here. And then going down towards 24.9, right? And then down towards like 24.6, 25. I'll call it 24.5. Okay. And that would be pretty reasonable for us. All right. CL, red candle, increasing volume, gap up. 2 out of 3 to the downside with volume. And then we're looking at a move down towards like 59 as our starting point. And then we've got that 59.50, yada, yada, yada. Prop limits here this morning are going to be at 5%, right? So it does have a little bit more extension that we can take care of here today. So that's looking at a 56.50. Okay. And then to the upside here, target's going to be 60.50. And then we're pretty good from there. All right. Apple, 2 out of 3 without volume. Tesla, red candle, decreasing volume, gap up, 1 for 3. Microsoft, red candle, decreasing volume, gap up, 1 for 3. Amazon, red candle, decreasing volume, gap up, 1 for 3. Consistent there. All right, AMD, red candle, increasing volume, gap up. Again, 2 out of 3 to the upside, or sorry, downside with volume. Big reaction post video earnings. That's what that gap up is being driven by, right? Nvidia, obviously 3 for 3 here to the upside. We're expecting this to be a mega volume day. And then slash how Nvidia goes, the market goes, right? So if Nvidia ends up being like a big mean reversion where we, reject off of 200 or 196 and we sell off back towards 190, I would imagine that also drags the index down with it. And we would probably expect to see a decent amount of volatility if that's the case. Meta, slightly decreasing volume, so we'll call that a red candle, decreasing volume profile, gap up, so 1 for 3. Netflix, red candle, decreasing volume, gap up. Sorry, I needed some more coffee. Cool. And then Google, 3 for 3 to the upside. Pretty impressive. And then the old Vixaruni here today, 19.58, back under 20, which is both nice, but also a little bit sad. I love those high volatile or high volatility conditions. Those are pretty impressive to me. I don't know, if we get a big sell-off here, I'd imagine this changes pretty quick. But still, 19 is still lots of range and lots of space for us to get after. Any questions here this morning, team? How's everyone feeling? I appreciate that, Johnny. Thank you. Hopefully we have a good day here again today. Mike, the one T1D, can you rephrase your question a little bit? I'm not quite sure. Hey, 1.21. Get your friend who referred you to send me a message with your email, and we'll get you into the Discord. Well, just because the market is gapping up on the Nvidia earnings, right? So Nvidia had earnings there last night. They really outperformed, and that led to a monster gap up here on Nvidia. That's driving the remainder of the price action here across the board, right? The whole market was waiting for that. So now if Nvidia fades, right, or if Nvidia sells off and that narrative changes, that would potentially drag the market down with it in the same way where if Nvidia continues to rip higher, that's likely going to bring the whole market up with it as well. Make sense? All right, so we've got a couple minutes here before markets open. I'll show you guys a quick little run through of the platform again, right? So this will be your login page. So I'll just log in as me. And once you log in, it brings you up a trading dashboard here, right, where it shows you your stats. What your expected max loss should be, right? What your average loss is, things along those lines. Your max daily loss based on your data. So it's giving you like dynamic numbers to adjust for your potential tilt, right? How many red trades you would reasonably be able to take in a row before you'd be expected to go on tilt, what your max loss per trade, right, would be, stuff along those lines. And then various kind of different scores. So called this like the gambler score. So it tells you how well you're following your rules, how disciplined you are, things along those lines. Then when you go through, you get more insights here. So it talks to you about if you make some of the changes, right, to improve your trading, how much that would have changed your P&L, what could improve to your weekly P&L or what your monthly P&L could be, things along those lines, and gives you a full breakdown here of all your trades. When you look at them, you can look at them then in further detail, right? See daily performance. And then we're going to have a little leaderboard here where when you submit your stuff, you'll be included in the leaderboard, and we'll do prizes and things along those lines for those types of scenarios. And then there's going to be like a live chat feature here. So I'm just going to say I'm Michael, right? And then once the chat boots up, if I were to type in a message, right, it would show me here, and then your leaderboard status, right, how well you've been trading, would also give you your ranking here, and we'd be able to gamify a few of those little steps. So looks extremely positive, right? Looks really, really cool. We're going to have a lot of fun features and functionality with this, and really excited for how all this kind of fun stuff is going to come together. Only I am going to have access to what's this like admin page, where I'll be able to see everyone's trading, right? And be able to, kind of give them then feedback and things along those lines, and all that kind of fun stuff. So really excited to introduce this. Hopefully, like I said, by Monday, it'll be good to go and rocking and rolling. I think it's going to be a really fun feature, and it's going to be hopefully really useful for us. So, big thing I think about trading is just being aware of your trading data, what it actually means, how to fix it, what your statistics are actually telling you, and creating more awareness over some of those elements, I think will help a lot of people to become a little bit more consistent, hopefully, and then keep climbing up the P&L leaderboard and hitting some pretty cool performance metrics. So markets have opened here. Let's kind of get after it. Let's see what's in store. But it should be a pretty interesting day. I'm pretty excited to see what we're going to have available to us. And yeah, hopefully we can have ourselves a little bit of joy. And yeah, we'll see what things do from there. Any questions about that? Yeah, Mark, it's not ready yet. I'm just showing you guys a demo version of it, so please bear with me. Once it's available, I will make it very obvious for where to find it. So no one has access to it besides me. I think I've made that extremely clear, so please, guys. Like I said, it will be made available to everyone soon enough. All right, so let's see how things creep up. Pretty good opening range here today, right? Like 90 points. Pretty punchy. Pretty good volume, right? Better volume than what we saw yesterday. All right, so yeah, like I said, NVIDIA, if it sells off, right, good chance it brings the market down with it. Kind of getting maybe a little bit of that here this AM. Too early though, right? We're not going to get a increase in volume profile here on the second candle of the day, so we're going to have to be pretty patient. While I have you guys, and before I make everything too complete, do you feel like there's anything that's missing from that dashboard? Is there anything that you guys would like included there, right, to make it more useful and helpful for you? Please let me know. So obviously the objective here is it fun for it to look all fine and dandy and all that kind of stuff, but I want it to be useful for you, the traders, members of this community, to get everything that you want basically in one hub or one place. So is there anything that you guys think might be missing? You know it, Derek. Yeah, so you should be able to get a view of your stats on if it loads up, on a daily, weekly, monthly level. So daily, weekly, monthly, and then when you go into your calendar, you'll be able to click on a specific day, see those trades, and then when you click on an individual trade, it's going to give you feedback. So trade score, your tilt potential of that, and then one thing you did well, one thing you can improve, and then one thing that you can focus on here for tomorrow. You can add notes and all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah, so I don't have any filtering for account sizes at the moment, Jack. Every time I've tried to figure that stuff out, I can't seem to get the math to reflect it correctly. Maybe we could do it as tags. That might be an interesting way. But that would give us maybe that same type of function. The position sizing risk tool, Tony, not necessarily quite the way I would want to view this. This should be a review platform, not a live trading platform. To 4, that's not possible, man. Your suggestion's not possible. Well, I mean, it's not gonna be able to give you everything, John, right? Or Clint. But like I said, it'll give you the 3 things: one thing you did well, one thing you can improve, one thing to focus on, and then it'll give you a score for each trade, right? So that'll be kind of the workaround for that. If I gave it the instruction to tell you everything that you're doing or whatever, it would be too ambiguous and would start to become whatever. Yeah, so the goal here, right, is it to help you notice your patterns and your top, like your points of concern, give you tips on how to fix them, and then yeah, allow you to kind of share that some of stuff. The run up and drawdown of each trade is not, again, a realistic type thing to include in this calculation or in this process. It can tell you stuff like, hey, you left a lot of money on the table, you closed your trade too early, but it can't give you like whatever. Well, you'll be able to see that, Kath, right? If your score is improving. So if your trade score is improving on the next trade, right? If you have a trade score of 2 and then you start closing as your P&L is increasing, okay, well, now your trade score is going to be 7, right? Or it'll be whatever it is. Troy, it's just a website I'm making personally. So it's a custom build. So effectively, guys, what this is your trade journal, right? It's a trade journal with a few little extra bells and whistles. And I want to make it clear, right, that the objective of this is for it to be like a living document, right, type thing, where it's going to be constantly evolving, improving, getting better as we see functionality that needs to be added. We can add that in for people, all that kind of fun stuff. And so we'll figure it out. It's not available yet, Jeanette. We'll make it available here pretty soon. Another day or 2. Yeah, so the import's really basic. You just log in and you import a CVS file, and it should be able to do that. When you log in for the first time, there'll be a notification here for you to log in your trades and set your trading rules. There's another thing that you can do, right? So you can set your rules, give yourself a rule if you break your max position size, for example, or your max loss per day, or your max daily loss or whatever it is, you're going to get punished for that. You can set up like to be sending emails right to yourself for if you break your rules. And then if you break them, right, it's going to change your trader score. The more you break your rules, or like the larger, the more severe the break is, right, the more that's going to impact your statistics. So I think it'll be a really awesome tool. Yeah, 100% Kath. Yeah. And from my perspective, right, selfishly, what the journal does is it tracks the key metrics I need to know about your guys' trading, right? So as long as you're uploading your trades every day or once a week or whenever you choose to do it, I'll be able to see, okay, Mike's not, his profit factor isn't as good as it needs to be. His average loss is smaller. That means he's not closing as his P&L is increasing, or he's leaving a lot of money on the table. And now I can tailor the coaching based on actual data to help him improve his technique. And so this will give us a lot more tailored feedback so that when we do have one-on-one coaching sessions or we do have discussions, it'll be a little bit easier for us to get proper solutions, right? And then we'll be able to track them, see how they're improving, and we can kind of like do stuff like that. I also want to include like a habit tracker in here, so I'll try to maybe build that out in the next maybe iteration. But we'll cross that bridge. Mike, I gotta say, man, very, very selfish to assume you're thinking about yourself. Not that it was anyone else, but just kidding, man. All right. Oh, let's see. Didn't quite give me the setup there on NQ, right? Give me a little breakdown, but didn't hold under the opening range. So again, we're still gonna have to wait a little bit. But yeah, let me know, guys, if you think there's anything that is missing or that you'd love added in. If it's possible, I will try to make it. If not, I'll probably just like rant and rave like a lunatic and complain about unrealistic expectations. But we'll figure it out here in the end. So far, so choppy, right? So far, so choppy. Not much going on here yet from a market perspective. Again, Nvidia's kind of stalled out. All markets kind of stalled out, right? So let's still be a little bit patient with that really big gap up. Generally, right? Big gap ups mean it takes a little bit longer for the markets to give us a little bit of a move. So we are having to be just a tad more cautious here so far this AM. Kind of just hovering around 200, right? So we'll be chill here for now. Honestly, what I think you guys are going to like the most is going to be the leaderboards and then the chat function within that leaderboard, right? So that when people are posting messages in the chat, let's say this hypothetical Mike, right, is posting again. If he puts in a message, it'll show, right? Okay, hi. For me, it says head trader, but then it's going to show your position on the leaderboard, right? Once you're sharing your information on there, and that'll be a nice little way to flex. Yeah, Brian. If you just go into the How DTR Trades channel, that's all there for you. I'm not going to share the link. You can find it yourself quite easily. Oh, the goal here, Jack, is to run monthly contests then, right? So the top performing traders of the month will figure out the numbers. We'll figure out some sort of celebration or something along those lines, or some sort of plaque or trophy or whatever. I think it'll be awesome. And then, you know, if you don't want to be in the leaderboard, everyone will have the opportunity to make their data anonymous, right? So if they don't want to be, you don't have to share, or you could make your data look like something else. So it'll just say anonymous trader here if that happens. Yada, yada, yada. So we'll make sure everyone's got the info they need. Yeah, I'm very excited by this, guys. I'm very excited by this. Okay, so still nothing here on NQ, right? It's just still stuck. CL being a nightmare. So we're kind of just watching for now here, still team. I don't like those increasing volume inside bars. So that's always a little bit interesting. Yeah, for now, looks like market isn't moving. So we're just going to be patient. So we can figure out different tiers, Sonia, stuff like that. Yeah, Roberto, feel free to share with me. That'd be great. But I don't want you to worry too much about other people or committing to like beating other people. I think a lot of the leaderboard is just showing you what's possible, right? When you improve and how you get better, and to give people that excitement. And you know what? Even if your ranking is, let's say, 999th on the list instead of first, still something to celebrate, right? So I think that'll do it. Like the reality with trading. All right, let's focus on this actually instead. So we got an upside breakout to be continued. To be continued. All right, so we got an upside setup here. We want to see some sort of bearish failure. And let's watch. Increasing volume, much more increasing volume on the 3 than the 2, Kiki. So we're going to stick to this on the 3, slightly larger sample size. So we'll view this here. And again, we got to see some sort of evidence that bears are failing. So far, all the action we've seen here so far has been chop, 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 chop. You want to be very careful, right? Very deliberate, nice and slow. Don't have to be in a rush. We made lots of money yesterday. Don't need to be in a rush. If you guys were to see my eyes right now, oh my gosh, they're so they look like they've been staring at the sun for 2 days straight here. You guys are lucky I don't have to be on camera. Oh my god. Freaking gargoyle energy this morning. I've just been staring at a computer screen all day. Or all day yesterday, all day the day before. Ain't that the truth, Sam? Ain't that the truth? Yeah, 100%, Kathy. Yeah, I agree. Like, honestly, guys, I love it. Like, yeah, I'm a bit addicted to working, so it's it is pretty cool. Okay, so again, not terrible, but that's a huge range. No, I don't always use the 5-minute chart. I use whatever time frame is giving me a signal that I can trade. Most often it's the 2 or the 3-minute time frames. Those would be probably my most common. One thing I'm going to try to figure out here as well today, this was a request for some people yesterday. I'm going to try to create like a little bit of yeah, so it's orange folder data, Derek. So we're expecting it to have some impact, not necessarily a massive one, but we'll figure that out. We'll see. Still got lots of time. Someone was asking if we could do like quiz feature type thing. So if there's like I'm gonna upload the trading basics channel, the how DTR trades channel, the trading psychology sections in there, and we're gonna use that information, right? So everyone can still access everything in one place, and then hopefully create some sort of quiz system so that people can test their knowledge, see how they're doing, and then kind of build that out. So that's sort of the next thing. So Jason, could you explain the 1 for 3, 2 for 3, and 3 for 3? I'm a little confused on that. So what that means is it's an indication of what the daily trend is of the market. I view that there are 3 things that impact the daily trend on a daily time frame basis. So it's the previous day's candle, right, which is 0.1, the previous day's volume, which is 0.2, and then today's price action, which is 0.3. So when you have a 2 out of 3 to the upside without volume, you're being told that you have a green candle with a gap up, but a decreasing volume profile. So you know that you want to see increasing volume, right, prior to it being quote unquote trending PA. Same thing, right? If you're missing, I don't know, if you have a 1 for 3, right, you need a gap up and a gap down, or a gap up and volume, right, for it to be trending. So it's a trend score effectively, right, over what the market is giving us, and it just gives us a way to systemize how trending the market actually is. Yeah, we'll have to figure out, guys, how well I can do the quizzes. Short term, they're probably going to be a little bit basic, but we'll figure that out. Did that answer your question, Jason? Well, it's just an overview, right? So once I know what the daily trend is of the market, I can adjust or adapt my pre-market plan so that when I'm trading on the short-term time frames, I'm looking for signals. So philosophically, what I'm looking for is to identify what the daily trend is of the market, and then I'm looking for the first short-term setups, right, that give me the same story as that daily trend. So then I'm looking on the 2-min time frame or the 3-min time frame or the 5-min time frame for a thesis that matches then my daily plan, and I can look to execute that trade. So I'm looking for effectively trend continuation ideas on the shorter term time frames. Yeah, oh yeah, Chris, like I don't doubt that I'd be able to implement a quiz system and do all those sort of things. I just don't know how restrictions or how restricted I would be or how happy I would be with some of the GBT suggestions right over what those quiz questions are. A lot of the time with those GBTs, you'll give it some information, but then it'll still kind of like bullshit some stuff or like make a lot of assumptions or make things up. And then people will be getting feedback on quizzes when it's maybe not something that I would actually agree with. So making sure that that structure and infrastructure is correct is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but that for me would be really important, right? So I don't want to give people like it'd be easy to create just like a basic quiz, but I want to make sure that it's not telling people or contradicting me when it's submitting stuff, right? So we got to find that balance there. So we'll figure that out. Emmy, it's basically just like the AI, right? It's AI functionality. All right. So at this point, guys, we're gonna be waiting, right, for this 10 a.m. data. Most likely, we're kind of running out of time. Yeah, you can, and I've done that for the feedback it gives on trades. But once you start getting, you upload a lot more data, it gives. Yeah, we'll figure it out. So we'll play around, but I imagine that's one of those things that will probably be a little bit finicky and require a bit of work to get perfect. So initial will be keeping it nice and basic, and then we'll expand its complexity as we kind of figure out how it works. So like I want you guys to visualize this as like a V1. Right. So we want to make sure that all the core functionality works. And then, over probably the next week, month, 6 months, however you want to call it, we'll improve it and make it a lot better. What do you mean by projected pricing, Johnny? I'm not sure what that means. So all I'm looking for, right, with my trades is philosophically, once I have a setup trigger, I want to see the other side of that trade fail prior to entering. That gives me like a clear runway basically for me to get an entry. And it should mean that if I'm correct on my thesis, I should be pretty much green right away. I want to basically avoid as much time in drawdown as possible on my trades. And that's why I do that, right? So if I shake out or I wait for the opposite side of my trade to fail prior to entering, I should be able to get a much smoother or better entry. And that for me is very, very valuable. All right, so we got 1 minute here to market data, guys. I'm gonna go fill up my cup of coffee, so just bear with me here, and we'll be back in a second. All right, so data's dropped, no crazy reaction here so far. And so we do have an active setup trigger. Yes, Stephen, I do. You can literally see it on my screen right now, right? Like this is my pre-market plan. We spent the first 15 minutes of the session mapping this out, right? Okay, so we want to see some sort of bearish failure here. Inside bar going into data. I'm not sure if that's enough. So we're still going to have to wait this thing out a little bit. It kind of rejected right off of 300 as well, which I think is a bit of a concern or like a little bit of an extra potential hiccup. I want to see some sort of rejection, right, or reversal here off of these lows prior to looking for an entry. Otherwise, right, contextually, if it's getting stuck or stuffed at 300, it's a pretty obvious place for bulls to fail on a breakout, right? So we want to be a little bit careful around that number. Again, we could be in play here. Okay, fine. Same thing though. We want to see some sort of little bearish failure here first. And then be mapped out something like this, right? Once we see those bears fail. So there's our possible fake out. Let's see. Kind of moving a little bit slowly here so far. So we're gonna wait here, guys. No reference price drawn out yet, right? So no entry. You're looking now at like a 259 stop loss, but I'm still not convinced this is gonna hold. That this is exactly what we want. Kind of have also conflicting signals here, right? 3 min, slightly longer time frames, giving me a bit more of a rejection. I'm having a bit of a tough time unseeing that 300 touch, right? Like I can't not view that as a bad thing at the moment. Steven, I don't think like that, right? I trade my system, not what I think the market is going to do. So, truth be told, man, I don't care. I have a plan in either direction. I can either play a trade to the upside or I can play a trade to the downside. And I'm simply just going to trade my system, not my feelings of what I think the market is going to do. Good traders react to their rules, not react to their feelings. So I want to react to my rules, my system rules, not my perception of what I think the market is going to do. Like my job, guys, like during the trading day, is to do a lot less analysis than people think, right? Because once the day opens and markets are rocking and rolling, I think that every idea I have is going to make me money, right? Which is definitely not true. I'm a freaking idiot. So if I know that I'm a self-sabotaging idiot, then we all are, right? Then I need to make it easy for myself to not do that. Well, I'm always going to prefer the story on a longer time frame because there's more data associated with that signal, right? Pretty rare you get scenarios where you get like a breakout on one and a rejection on the other. Like even on the two min, we were watching that rejection right off of 300, and that's what slowed us down. And then we got basically confirmation of that rejection on the three min. So the signals or the timeframes are working in conjunction there in that context, even if maybe it isn't that blatantly obvious. And so no possible entries here yet. Still gotta be patient. Like if we look at NVIDIA, it's kind of doing a very similar story, right, to what NQ is doing. Like very, very similar. Like that price action is rhyming to a certain extent this morning. And let's see how it wants to behave. So now we're under, pretty impressive. We're back under 200. We have a pretty good chance here to go increasing outlier volume on this next bar, on this 2-min. And give us a nice high conviction narrative. So let's see. Ooh. So ideally here, right, we're closing under 2. I didn't quite do that weak close. So again, we'll pass on that burden of confirmation. Now let's wait for this thing on the 3. Yeah, so again, watching, will this close under 200? That's kind of the catalyst we're looking for here. Okay, great close. So setup here's a fake out, right? Kind of had pseudo confirmation there. We'll call this still confirmation. Looks fine by me. Target here would be that 2R range. And let's see if we can get some sort of indication of a bullish failure now. VIX is just about 20, 19.91. So not bad. That would now put stop loss to be 207. I'm going to start to set up my order window here a little bit, guys. So stop would be 25,208, just to keep it simple. And I'm just always rounding up, right, to the nearest full number. And then from like a reference price perspective, I'd be looking something along those lines. So watch the speed of this here. A little bit too fast. Okay, so that would be then stop at 224. Again, that doesn't feel perfect, right? Not necessarily the best reaction to our 200 area, so we have to tighten it up again. And that would change stop loss to be 220, 222. Okay, so set that up. Okay, watching here carefully. That was the right reaction inside that zone. Just didn't settle in there for just long enough for me to get an entry, so no big deal. So watch here, guys. We're still potentially in play. Nice work, CD. Okay, so I'm watching here carefully, guys. Watching here carefully. That was another pretty good rejections. Definitely taking the stairs up. Nice and slow here so far. Can't seem to find my entry yet. Okay, watching carefully here. Man, come on. So still just have everything set up. Still waiting for it to give me the perfect entry. 10-ish points away. Let's see. Nice work, Patrick. Okay, well, that's not going to give me the look. Asshole. Give this an extra 30 seconds here. Maybe we can get our entry then. Let's go, Igor. Nice work, team. Good entries. Love that. Okay, so we're still theoretically in business here, but again, want to be a little bit cautious. Be looking at a 192 stop loss for now. Risk is still too aggressive. My reference price would be about a here-ish. I don't want to, or my belief here to a certain extent, it's going to fake out above that 192. So I'm not in a huge rush to just click submit. That is my perception here. It is rejecting pretty well, so maybe that's an incorrect assessment. Gosh, it feels so weird. 10:16 in the morning. Still, we don't have like a million trades placed. Crazy. Let's go, Sonia. Nice work. Love to see people being confident with their entries. That's incredible. All right, so it seems like it's everyone but me. Nice work, guys. Okay, so again, I'm kind of expecting it to give me a little fake out above that 192, so I'm not insta-clicking here. Yeah, there it is. So now we're looking at a 199 stop loss. And now it's looking like it's theoretically increasing volume, but it's not enough. We're going to have to wait this thing out. Signal is dead. Still no entries. Big old fat zeros across the board. It kind of looks like it's a choppy mess so far to a certain extent. Kind of a slow chop, though. It's not like that fast craziness we saw early last week. A little bit more like controlled chaos. At the very least, feels a little bit like the market doesn't quite know what it wants to do yet, right? A little bit maybe the perception I'm getting here. I will say sometimes with TradingView, I think it's a better, like I love its execution interface. I think it's the best interface that exists. But man, sometimes it's just absolute dog shit. Just like you get fills that are so much worse than you think they should be. like a good entry, guys, will hide a lot of mistakes, right? It gives you so much margin for error. So it's a really good thing to focus on and obsess over. Yeah, so far so choppy. I'm being pretty patient. And again, if I don't get a trade here today, no worries. It's been a really good week so far, right? I don't need to be in a rush. Not every day has to be a trading day. If my edge isn't sharp, I don't need to go try to cut a bunch of vegetables, right? Well, I did not miss out on anything. Annoying, but it is what it is. The live trading channel, Mark. Come on, man. You know this. There's nothing in the Discord is like hidden meaning or something along those lines, right? It's all super intuitive and super basic. Yeah, I want to stay away from CL, to be honest with you, though, Tony. No. Like the way we want to think about, guys, the opening range here, right? If price action is inside the box, we pretty much don't give a shit about it, right? What that's telling us is that it's inside a state of consolidation. Our setups occur, right, when we get separation away from the box, right? When you get breakouts over or reversals under or above. So when price action is hanging out in that opening range, in that consolidation zone, we don't care, right? It's telling us consolidation, that there's no trend, that there's nothing of interest. So no, testing at the bottom of the range means fuck all. And it also, yeah, I don't have anything else to say to that. Right? Like the opening range is fundamentally a indicator that is telling us, here's our zone of consolidation. Here's your breakout away from consolidation. So the green box, right, is indicating here's your consolidation zone, right? And consolidation acts like a magnet, which is why the mean reversion ideas work when you have a lot of separation away from the ORB. Guys, holy fuck. It's called live trading. I cannot make it any more clear than that. Just look. Like I don't, yeah, I struggle to comprehend how this question comes up every single day, multiple times in a session, and people just don't use their eyes. Why not? It's insane. You could just browse through the Discord and get your problem solved and answer your own question than spending 2 minutes answering it in the chat, getting someone to hold your hand and answer it for you, and then going and checking it out yourself. Holy smokes, guys, it's not hard. Like the amount of hand holding we have to do here is ridiculous. You're freaking adults and you're acting like toddlers with your ability to navigate a web page. It's crazy. Like, no offense, guys, but if you can't figure out how to access the chat room when it's called live trading, how the hell are you going to figure out how to get your entry timing correct? No offense. It's like it's not fucking hard. So I don't know why this continually is an issue with people, but it is infuriating. Help yourself, right? Make it easy for yourself to be successful. Don't be a lazy prick and ask for people to hold your hand and do everything for you. It's fucking pathetic. So still no like reasonable increasing volume profile for me to change or chase, right? It's all just consolidation here so far. So still, right, in consolidation here. Sounds good, Jared. Enjoy your day. Unlikely to be increasing outlier volume there on that candle. So we're waiting, right? It's the reversal signal, but without confirmation. Yeah, Kath, absolutely. Like we're not like I was say right that it's not that I'm being disciplined, right? When I'm watching price action that is imperfect for me, I am being stubborn, right? I'm basically only willing to trade my rules and trade once price action gives me absolutely everything that I'm looking for. If it doesn't give me those things, well, I'm happy to sit on hands and happy to be stubborn and I don't have to go shopping, right? Or go to IKEA. I can just be stubborn and sit at home and be miserable and grumpy. Kind of the same thing, right? All of us know how to be stubborn. Not all of us know how to be disciplined, right? So that's an easier kind of way that we can describe it to ourselves. Yeah, we're paid for our decisions, not our time. Exactly. And yesterday, right, we had the extreme version of that. We had like 5K day before 10 a.m. So it's, some days are crazy and busy in the morning, some days are not. Today is one of those, some days are not. Not a big deal. That's just a part of the game. And like we said, right, how Nvidia behaves, the market's going to behave. Nvidia's been range bound here post earnings. The market's been range bound here today, right? So we're just being patient. We're just waiting. If nothing sets up, nothing sets up. If something sets up, something sets up. Doesn't make a difference. Okay, so we have a breakout here, increasing outlier volume, breaking out through high of day, right? Holding 300. We talked about 300 being resistance before. Now let's see if that area can act as support. Okay, so again, right, possibly still looking for that little fake out here. We're looking at a 266 stop loss. 266 would be the stop loss on a long. Reference price would be like 272-ish. Oh, fucking me. I don't know how you guys deal with it sometimes, but I freaking cannot stand people who get told exactly what to do and just refuse to follow those instructions and then have to waste people's times. Shit drives me fucking insane. Okay, so maybe we have a possibility this way. Stop loss would be 288. You'd have like reference price there-ish. A little bit too fast, so be patient here. A little bit too fast. Kind of feels like that blue line, right, is acting as resistance, not support. But there's a little possible fake out again. So that would set you up to be 285-ish as a stop loss. Let's try this. So looking for a gentle pullback here on this candle open. Okay, that was not gentle. Okay, so now you're looking at a 263 stop loss. Still moving a little bit too fast for my liking, right? A little bit too fast. Reference price on this would be the previous fake out low, right? So you're looking then something like that. You're looking at 261 stop loss, looking for an entry around 267. Come on, give me within a point of what I was looking for. That's mean. Again, didn't get what I wanted. Reset this. It's good volume, but it's fake out, right? So I'm not too worried about that volume profile. All right, so we're possibly looking here right at a rejection or reversal. Danny, I saw your message in the general chat. Obviously, I appreciate your comment. I am not calling out anyone for being stupid. I am calling out people for not knowing how to manage their subscription, right? If they purchased a trial, there is no subscription element to that. And people assume that we can figure out who they are, what they are with no information, and they just send something out into the ether and they hope that it's going to solve their problems. That is not how it works. And it's really hard to help people who refuse to help themselves. And I'm not here, guys, to think about your feelings. I'm here to make you money, right? That is what my objective is. I'm never going to attack you, the person. I'm going to attack you, the trader, and help you improve your trading. If that makes you uncomfortable, that is a you problem, not a me problem. And you need to get over it, right? I'm never going to say that you're an idiot. I'm going to say that you made a dumb trading decision and that there is a significant difference to that. If you don't like that, if you're not interested in getting better, this is not the right community for you, because we don't suffer people who are here to waste each other's time. So get over it, guys. I like all of you. I appreciate all of you. And I want you guys to all be successful. That's why I do things the way that I do. If you don't like that, then tough shit. That's a you problem. So we got to get over it, guys. Get over our egos. I am not attacking any individual person ever. If I didn't like working with you, I would kick you out. Pretty simple. But expecting people to be prepared and to be focused and to know how to use their resources is totally reasonable. We have a tech guy who will help you to fix those problems if you don't know how. So use that resource. Don't then just show up to the stream and say, oh, Michael will help me fix it out during the middle of his setup so that I can make money. No, do your homework. Be prepared. Control your variables. We have a ton of resources available to you to make your life easier. Use them. But if you're going to waste everyone's time because you're unwilling to do that preparation, I will say something, right? Because it is disrespectful. So sorry that you guys maybe sometimes don't like my feedback style, but guys, the market is too competitive to suffer fools, right? To waste each other's time, to do all this kind of stuff. So if our feelings get hurt because someone calls us out for not being prepared, well, maybe there's a little bit of truth to it then, right? But it's not saying that you're an asshole or whatever. It means your preparation is. You don't like that, you don't like that. Tough shit. When I got my job working institutionally, on the first day I started my job, you know what the first thing that I got told to when I met one of my employees or one of my coworkers? You know what the first thing they said to me was? Right? They said, I told them not to hire you. That was the very first conversation I had with someone when I started that job. His name was Aaron. And I just laughed, right? So eventually we became actually really good friends, right? We became good buddies. And we would laugh about that. So like that was an insult, right? But once he figured out who I was, a trader, how I was improving, all this kind of stuff, he didn't have those concerns. And people who refuse to manage their own tech issues or to be proactive about it or do whatever, it's the most infuriating thing for me. It is the thing that drives me the most insane about this. Because no matter how hard I try to hold people's hands in supporting these things, they still find ways for it to be clammy, and it's fucking annoying. And so instead of then having to be focused on my trading setup, I've got people trying to pull my focus into helping them do whatever. And that's really unfair to everyone here. So yeah, I take that extremely seriously. And it is something that agitates me when I get pulled from that focus zone. Okay, so we're looking at something like this. Stop loss of 186. All right, guys, I am in. Average price 179.25. Stop loss 186. Okay, just got stopped out. We'll potentially try this again. Okay, maybe not. Took a $222 loss there. And she try this again. You'd be looking at a 207 stop loss, and I'd want an entry as close to 200 as possible on this. But I don't think I'm going to get that quite reaction, so we'll wait. And guys, I haven't done any tough love here today. I have just complained that people are wasting my time with bullshit questions that they could have answered themselves. Right? That's it. Not tough love. Nice work, Sonia. Let's go. A freaking awesome day. That'd be pretty high up on the leaderboard, by the way. All right, let's stick to this on the 3. This is our confirmation. Let's trade this on the 5. Actually, the 5's a little bit better. Okay, couldn't quite get the entry we wanted there initially, so we'll reset this. We got a minute to go. Guys, I have enough support staff to manage all these things. People just don't use the resources that they're given, and instead they do the lazy thing instead of doing the thing that actually fixes the problem. So, not a question of having the team or the support or whatever. Not a question of making things clear enough. A question of people doing what they think is best for them or just not giving a shit and thinking everyone's going to bend over and solve all their problems. Not the reality. Okay, so let's see how this behaves here. Stop loss would be 136. Let's see. This might be a little bit of a fake out first, so just be patient. Okay, so now it'd be 140 as a stop loss. Come on, pull back. Okay, so now we're looking like a 122 stop loss. You're eating today. Oh, I feel a little bit cursed this morning. Yeah, you should go enjoy your day, CD. That's an awesome day. Okay, she's looking at a 113 stop loss now. All right, guys, I am in 106.50. Stop loss 113. Beautiful. Let's go. Ah, thank God. Yeah, let's see if this thing can keep flushing here. Let's see if this thing can keep flushing. Want to see it get through 90, right? With a lot of oomph. There it goes. There it goes. All right, so we can get a little bit more follow through here, but so far, so excellent, team. So far, so excellent. That's 3K on this so far. So amazing. Let's even keep going. And then focus now, right, is closing as PNL is increasing. No dumb, greedy bullshit, please, right? I don't like that little rejection, but we don't have any reason to be afraid yet. So let's see if this thing can keep selling. Okay, see if it can flush through 70. Come on. You're so close. Do it. There it goes. There it goes, team. That's 4K, 4,100. See if we can get through 60 now. Ooh, I didn't like that little bounce off of 60 to 70. If we get one more decent flush here, and I'm going to look to get out. Okay, looking for my exit here, guys. Looking for my exit, and I am out. Exit price. Oh, wait, there we go. Now it filled. 63.50. Exit price 63.50. Woo! Everyone good? Yeah? Everyone make money on that? Let's go, guys. Let's go. Nice work, Nick. Oh. Like that's why, like I know I'm a grumpy prick. I know I'm an asshole here sometimes, guys. But I'm trying to protect my focus as much as I can. I know it's not maybe a very good excuse, but it's so that I can catch trades right when they come together instead of having to worry about bullshit during the trading day. That simple. I know I don't always say that very politely or in the nicest way or whatever, but my objective here is all about making us as much money as we possibly can and becoming the best traders we can be. And I'm going to be very deliberate, right? Again, I'm not ever going to attack you, the person. I'm going to attack you, the trader, or you, the prepper, right? Because failing to prepare is choosing to fail. And so that's something I do care about a lot, right? Because I can't do the preparation for you. I can't do those things for you. I can only make it as easy for you as I possibly can. Choosing to ignore those things is then infuriating because why wouldn't you want to get better? Why wouldn't you want to do the things that are designed to make you money? Right? Like if we don't want to do those things, our actions and our words aren't matched up, right? There's a divergence there. We're saying we want to be rich. We're saying we want to have freedom. We're saying we want to do things. But we can't spend the 5 fucking minutes to watch a video on how to set up TradingView. It makes no sense, right? Let's go, Abs. Congratulations. $1,300. That's freaking awesome, man. Dude, Sonia, are you kidding me? 31.38 on the day. Let's fucking go. What an example of preparation leading to P&L. Right? Made $3,100 today in 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's kind of worth dealing with a bitchy Michael. No offense. Freaking awesome. I promise you guys, right? Any criticism I have, any annoyance I share, it's not because I don't like you. It's the opposite. It's because I do care. It's because I want you guys to be successful. And I have enough survivorship bias to think that my way is the best way, which I'm sure is probably flawed. But I do care, guys. I know it doesn't always appear that way, but I do care a lot. And all I want is for you guys to all be as successful as you possibly can be. That's all I care about. I do care about so much. So, like, if you want to join DTR, love it, right? What you're joining then, right, is a community that's committed to helping you win, that's not going to tolerate any bullshit, and is going to make you become the best trader you can possibly be. But the only way that can happen, right, is if you meet me halfway. If you don't, and you expect me to do all the heavy lifting, it's not going to work, right? Because I can't want it more than you want it. You have to want it yourself. And then when you do, then you will do so well here. You'll improve so fast. Let's go, Bart. Let's go. Yeah, truth be told, Silver Fox, I don't think I adjusted the reference price on that trade. Probably not. So apologies. just one of those where every now and then I'm gonna forget or screw something up or whatever. Clearly, though, closed this trade about 100 points too early. Holy shit, Jeanette. $5,400. Let's go. What a frickin' rip. Whew. Guys, what a day. We got multiple 5K days from people. I've seen lots of 3K days. Let's freaking go, guys. Are you kidding me? Hey, me too, John. Me too, man. Wait, Patrick, so you just passed another eval then? I freaking love that. Congratulations. $4,500. Ian, 4,000. Show me 4,500. Guys, nice freaking work here. We're probably pushing like 500K in team profits today. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's really fucking awesome. Holy smokes. Yeah, Michael at dtrtrading.com. Woo. Done. Almost $1,000 is incredible. Should be stoked with that. um, let's phrase it in a different way, right? If you averaged $1,000 a day over a trading month, you're making what, 20K a month? If you're spending so much money that 20K a month isn't enough, you don't have a trading problem, you have a spending problem. I mean, I clearly closed too early too, Nick. Let's go, guys. Let's freaking go. What a day. Whew. Pretty awesome, Patrick. Lots of buffer. You got that 10K of space. Pretty amazing. So Bill, great question. I generally don't take partials. Um, Last year at Christmas, I did like a study where I went back through all my trades where I was taking partials and then compared my P&L to what it would have been had I just closed my entire position when I took my second partial. And what I end up finding is that I actually make a lot more money if I'm basically just all in or all out. On a trade like today, yeah, I probably would have made a bit more money had I kept partials, but that's more of an exception than the rule. So yeah, like the P&L difference on closing partials versus closing fulls was like something like 250K over the course of the year. And so at that point, it was like undeniable that I should be focusing on taking my full P&L. Now, the thing with that statement, right, is that is a like a reflection of my personal trading data, right? So I looked at my strategy, my take profit technique, where I was closing trades and realized that I was leaving a lot of money on the table. Everyone is going to have their own little sweet spot there, right? So what's best for me in that situation might not necessarily be what's best for you. But what you want to track then, right, is to create that data so you can figure out exactly what your sweet spot is. I appreciate that, Joe. Does that make sense, Bill? Yeah, we want to rely on facts, not feelings, right? Honestly, I don't care about my feelings or your guys' feelings in the trading day because our feelings are a liar, right? They don't tell us what the actual reality is. So it's just about focusing on, okay, here are my variables. Here's how I can fix them. Here's what they mean. Here's what it is. Is there something better? Yada, yada, yada. Good man, Joe. You should be able to drag it CBH if you want. But personally, I'm not a believer of moving stop losses, right? If you feel like you need to move your stop loss, in my opinion, that's like a subtle warning that you feel like you might be wrong, where you're no longer impartial about your position. And it's best to close that trade instead of letting it pull back and touch your stop loss. All right, guys, any other questions? I'm not going to stick around for much longer. Oh. What a day, though, team. It almost seems like, I mean, my P&L is the lowest of the day here. So, pretty happy when that happens. That's a good sign. Oh. Yeah, I'm watching the candlesticks, right? So candlesticks should give me 2 out of 3 things to continue to hold on to a trade. It should hold lower lows. It should have increasing volume. It should be a strong candle shape. So if we think back to this candle, right? I said, hey, there's nothing to be afraid of here. And why that was, right, is because it gave me 2 out of 3 things. You know, maybe this candle would have been my better exit. But that is what it is. There's a video in the Leonard in the Discord. It's called in the trading basics. It's called advanced risk management. How to know if your idea is strong or weak. That video explains exactly what I'm looking for to hold on to a trade, get out of a trade, etc. Should be in the trading basics channel. And it's called, yeah, advanced risk management. It's video number 6 in the, sorry, video number 5 in the trading basics channel. I appreciate that, Tyler. I try to learn something new every day too. Usually, I'll keep that one to myself. So Audrey, right? You're doing the right thing. You're not forcing it. You're not making decisions because of P&L. You're sticking to your system and you're sticking to your rules. I don't want you to be changing your decisions or your processes because you're close to passing an eval or you're close to getting a payout or you're doing whatever. Because all of a sudden, right, now that tricks you into changing your rules or changing your process. And now when you've changed your rules or your process, you're no longer doing the things that made you successful in the first place. And you've gone from trading your system to kind of gambling that you're going to get the result that you're hoping for. So I actually think the way that you behaved here today should be celebrated, right? You're being cautious. You're being deliberate. You're not forcing anything. That is absolutely amazing, right? You're not letting external noise or bullshit influence you into changing your rules and going from being a gambler, from being a trader to being a gambler, right? That's extremely positive. So you should celebrate that. That's a really good thing. You know, I would say, Audrey, I don't know if it's even being disciplined. What I would say is that you're being deliberate, right? There's a plan behind every decision. Nothing impulsive about it. There's nothing emotional about it, right? It's, hey, this is what I need to do to get my job done. I'm just going to get it done, right? It's very deliberate. And I think that that's a very positive way, right? It's you remaining in control. And it's the trader who remains in control for the longest that wins. It's when we give up control, we lose control, we get to that irrational state, that bad things start to happen. And so obsessing over that deliberate nature is extremely positive. All right, guys, final call for questions here. Final call for questions. 1 for 3 on the day, but almost $3,100. Take that all day long. Love that, Joe. What was it? 2 for 3 to the upside without vol. All right, guys. So a really strong trading day here. Pretty happy with how it went. I mean, closed it a little bit early for sure, which is a bit of a disappointment, but I will take it all day long. Amazing trading session. So same deal like always, guys. If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. And yeah, we'll be back at it again tomorrow. So talk soon.